Why, hello, everyone. I was watching back some previous episodes. This is the Happy Time Craftcast, and I am Joleen. But I always do that little jump at the beginning, like, wow, like I'm almost surprised that the thing started. You know what? If you can't make yourself laugh, right? Anyway, it is so good to see you today. Thank you so much for being a part of what we do here. I really appreciate you being here. So, my quick announcements are life on the farm. Boy, it is retreat season and we are in it. I think we just finished two in a row of 12 in a row. So the team is firing on all cylinders and everything. Honestly, it's been so great. It's been so great. Last weekend was Spirit of the Lake Yoga. They were here at Big Raven Farm for 4 days. This weekend is Willow Soul Yoga. They're here for 4 days. And then after that, the first weekend in October is my art journaling retreat with Suzanne Early, the editor and publisher of Strawberry Moon magazine. And that one has been sold out for months. So I'm very excited to welcome all of those folks to the farm. So if you too are interested in attending an art craft yoga, cooking, food retreat, I will make sure to always link those in our show notes. It's pretty spectacular, the things that happen here. And I just feel so lucky. I sit around sometimes with these lovely people, in my living room, and I'm just like, this is my job. I'm at work, and how lucky am I that I get to live this amazing life with these people who come to the farm. So anyway, I will be sure to link that. I do have a couple of announcements with regard to the things that I design and my products. I am getting ready to launch my With Your Name watercolor sketchbook. Hopefully, and not hopefully, these will be ready for you to give as a Christmas gift. It is a watercolor art journal personalized with a person's name and then a cute little sentiment. And it comes with all the things you need to make it. So that will be coming soon, like with a you can buy it now kind of situation. And then also, I'm really excited about next month's Craft Club kit. It's for spooky season and it's spiders. And it's amazing. I cannot wait for you to see it. So that will be released on the 1st of October. So that's what's going on with me. So now let's get to other exciting news, and that would be today's guest. Ah, Allison Kreft. She is a creative with over 15 years of experience in art direction, photography, and surface pattern design. And if you're like me, if you were a scrapbooker back in the day, she has done a lot of work in the scrapbook paper design space. So I cannot wait to talk to her about that. I think she might even have some information on where those patterns are still available. But anyway, so that's really exciting. When she's not designing, she also crafts hand-blown glass art. And I cannot wait to talk about that. And she hunts for vintage treasures, and she's probably just a lot like us. And I cannot wait to talk to her. So here she is. Here is Allison Kreft. Hi, Allison.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you. So first question, I mean, what is behind you? You have such a beautiful background. Are you like in your studio, your office, your home? What is that? And tell us more.
Yeah, so this would be my little home office that's tucked away in our living room. And this is my ever-growing gallery wall.
Nice.
I have some amazing prints there. I have some
Yeah.
stuff from Lisa Congdon, Jessica Hish, Sister Maria Carita Kent. My son has a little drawing up there. So
Oh,
I just always am adding things on there. And then the little green one in the middle there, when I was in high school, I actually went on tour with my church choir to Russia. And that is the poster they had that was in one of the squares. So I'm lucky enough to
oh.
have one of those and kind of added it right to the collection.
I love all the color for those of you who might be listening and not seeing. It's colorful and vibrant and kind of just screams creative lifestyle. And Allison, I know that you live a creative life. So, like when you meet a new friend and they say, "Hey, Allison, what do you do?" Like, what's your elevator pitch? What do you say?
Well, I definitely do a lot of things. And I'm also in the thick of it with raising 3 kids right now.
Mhm.
So there's that balance as well. So I would say first that I'm like a pattern designer, licensed designer. So kind of creating stuff on the computer. I really gravitate towards, big, bold patterns and colors. My first job was at a silkscreen company, and we ended up doing silkscreen scrapbook papers. And I think that's kind of stuck with me with when I design. I usually try to do a limited palette. And then I always come back to photography as well.
Mhm.
That's started in high school. And so I'm always trying to mix that in when I can too, whether it's, just family portraits, or even, product design or product photography as well.
Sure.
And then glass blowing is kind of my passion and my hobby that I do for myself.
Oh,
So when I do that, that's the hands-on, tangible experience for me.
sure.
Yeah, so that's about, the smells and just making everything in the studio. And then I do little pop-up shops kind of to sell some of that stuff. But that's really
Amazing.
my favorite hobby, for the hands-on
I love that.
experience.
So you sound okay, so you sound a lot like the rest of us, really busy, busy all the time. Do you find that you are able to stay connected to the art and craft of making? And like, does a day go by where you don't? Like, how do you like incorporate it into such a busy life?
I try to squeeze it in whenever I can.
Yeah,
So, and I'm kind of the person that the more things I have going on, usually the more I can get done.
right.
So it's like I'll have a million projects to do.
Mhm.
And then I recently got a Glowforge, a laser cutter. And I was working on a project, and then my daughter realized that our dog was missing her name tag. So I
Yeah.
stopped everything because I'm like, oh, excuse to use the laser cutter right now.
Yes.
So quickly went to Illustrator, designed my little project. We printed it out, made it. My husband's like, aren't you supposed to like be working on something on your computer? I'm like, yeah, but this was priority.
Right?
So I did it, super cute tag.
Yeah.
Love how it turned out. And then coincidentally, my dog wandered out the front door for the first time ever. She's 6 years old. And so our neighbor found my dog, used the phone number on the tag to call me. So it was a great excuse that, like, yes, I did need to
Right.
stop everything and use my Glowforge to make this tag.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Glowforge. I haven't really talked about it like the brand that I use on the show very much. I don't know how many of us like there are in this laser cut community. I think we're growing for sure. I too am a Glowforge owner and I use mine almost every day. The what we can make, it blows my mind. Like there is like kind of no real limit other than like the thickness of your material or in some cases the length of your material. But I tell you, it has absolutely changed like the way I approach my medium for sure. Has that been your experience too?
Yeah, and I like because it comes out as a very finished, polished
Yeah.
design, how I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just what I like. So it just
Yeah.
looks clean. It looks like something you could sell, like the other
Right.
day I wanted some new earrings. So I made myself some new earrings. I engraved them, and then I put some gold paint in them. And then like I had a new pair of earrings and I can wear them right away.
You are
So
you are inspiring me, Allison, because so I know you're working with acrylic primarily on your laser. I am working with repurposed bookboard. And so mine is not clean. I look like a coal miner. I have just, char all over myself, all over my machine. So you're inspiring me to like maybe try a different medium because I have them. Like I got a nice little sample pack with my machine, but I
yeah.
haven't tried it yet. So thank you for the
Yeah, no, the
invitation. I want to
acrylic
try
is
now.
fun. Yeah. And then even the wood, when you cut it out and engrave it, then you can go in there and paint it and then
Mhm.
really clean it up with like a kind of a clear coating.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's another really fun way to play with it.
I know I should maybe do like a show where we just talk like Glowforge. Because I know that, I certainly have a lot of people in my world who kind of stand on the fence of should I or shouldn't I? Do I want to make the investment? What size should I get? That whole thing. And I think that like if I would have had someone to kind of talk to and bounce this around before I took the plunge, I think I would have felt a little better. Like, did you have that same experience? Did you like do all the research and like figure out which one and watch all the YouTube videos? I mean, that's what I did.
Yeah, so that's what I did too.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get one for a few years, and
Yeah.
then I went to Joann's and it was 50% off, and it was
Oh,
like, oh,
nice.
buy it. And then I was able to get the filter too, so I have it set up like
Yes.
inside with the filter.
Yep.
So I probably was going to go for a bigger one, but this one just kind of, I couldn't resist
Well, Allison, that's
the
a
way
sign.
that it gets
Like,
started.
yeah, like the
That's what I
stars
said.
were aligned.
Yeah,
Yeah, you like
I've been waiting
it
for it.
had to be done.
Yeah, it did. I didn't have a choice. I could turn around and sell it the next day and not lose any money. So I was like, I'm just going to try it. And
Right.
now I love it. I mean, it was like, I don't know, Mother's Day. And it's like, oh, quick,
Sure.
make something for both the grandparents, right away.
Right.
So it's just been really fun to play with it.
I do. I gotta say, I love mine. I'm very, 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 very glad that I did it. And for me, in my world of, as a art kit designer and a people who design, I design for other people to then build and create. And it has just really like so many possibilities. We've done so many fun things. This month in the watercolor sketchbook, so it's a repurposed book. And I cut a heart out of each one. And then it's engraved with their name. And then it's also engraved with peace begins with a playful heart. And then the heart part is cut further into 11 mosaic pieces. So it kind of looks like a patchwork heart when you put it all together. And then you can build the rest of the book, repurposed, of course, with watercolor and like watercolor paper. And it's just one of my favorite things I've ever designed so far. And I'm so glad I have that machine because I don't know how I would cut that, either on a scroll saw or not even a bandsaw. I don't know. It's been great. It's been a game changer for me.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
I know. I love it so much. So do you have then in all the creative, crafty things that you do you have a favorite project, a favorite medium, a favorite technique? Like, do you have a go-to?
Well, I love glass. I think I talked about that earlier. So that's something that it's like sometimes I see something and it's like, how can we make that out of glass? My brain is like, it'd be better in glass. So, and it's fun to see an object too, and then like deconstruct it, reverse engineer it to try and
Was that first time scary? Because like the equipment looks scary, the heat looks scary, the PPE, like, is this scary?
It is, and the first time I remember I took it in college, I was getting ready to graduate. And my instructor is like, we're all going to take the glass and you're just going to blow the biggest bubble you can until it shatters into a million pieces, just to get it out and just see what happens.
Yes.
And then people are always scared to breathe in because they think like you're going to breathe in glass. That glass is so thick. You can't really breathe.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. And I grew up, one of my relatives is the Blanco family. So my grandma's house, like her windows were just covered in all this colorful Blanco glass. So I just grew up with the glass kind of around. So then when I went to college and I saw that I could do this, it's like, well, I've already grown up with the glass. And, they're out in Pittsburgh. So it was kind of a neat way to kind of start it and be like, okay, now I'm going to look at their stuff a little bit more detailed to see what I can recreate. And a lot of the people that blow glass too, they don't usually have the color theory background. So there's a lot of, really great stuff, but the colors are just all over the place. And my approach was a little different with having a graphic design background and liking really bright colors.
So I would imagine you have to go somewhere, right? Like to a studio space. Right. Like this isn't something we do in our basement.
So, I go rent. There's a public space in San Jose where I'm located. It's a nonprofit.
Nice.
And they have great equipment there. The people are really friendly. So I rent by the hour, which is why it's nice to do the pop-ups because then I can kind of sell some of the pieces just to kind of pay for the space because it's expensive. So I go in there and I create stuff. And then as a happy accident, one time I made a really gorgeous vase and it broke into a million pieces, which happens with glass. It's going to break. So I have a kiln, which I'm lucky enough to have in my backyard. So then I took the pieces and I cut them smaller into shapes that work for necklaces. And then I can make little necklaces in my backyard with the gorgeous color of something I've blown. So I do have, the kiln that if I need to do something in my backyard with the glass, I can always kind of fire that up and do something there.
So glass is your kind of go-to. What about like how do you scratch that itch when you are at home and busy with family? And like do you have little steal away moments where you find time for a creative experience or a creative outlet? Or how do you reconcile the itch that you want to
Yeah.
scratch when you
Well,
can't get to the studio space?
yeah, the nice thing is having, 3 kids that are pretty creative. So
Yeah,
sometimes, I'll bring out a project for all of us. And at the end of the night, I might be the only one sitting there making stuff still
sure.
because they've kind of gone off and done their own thing.
Yep.
But, starting a new project. So one of the things that I'm planning to do really soon is like the little vintage putz houses. They're like little
Yeah.
mid-century modern paper ones.
Yes.
So I've designed so much paper over the years
Yes.
that I'm able to go, to my stash and grab that. And I'll make like a little mid-century modern house. And I'm going to do a little spin on it for Halloween and make like little haunted houses
I
in like
love
that
that.
style. And then I would say 15 years ago, I worked at Hambly Studios. We did the screen printed stuff and we screen printed clear overlays. So I have all this clear material that has like fun patterns on it. So I'll use those for the windows in those houses. It's just kind of a fun, different
It
supply
sounds
to
really
use.
fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a fun one.
so even in my art journal, one of the things I love to do is I love to build cities and I love to build landscapes just out of cut paper. I even build like library shelves. And when I say build, I mean I'm paper piecing and cutting out pattern paper to, build a little house, but like I'll build a whole bunch of them, or, I'll build a landscape, right, with maybe some pattern paper or book paper. And then I'll put a little house on one of those rolling hills. And we're talking like maybe in my art journal, I don't know, maybe a 30-minute little activity.
Yeah.
But there's something about just nobody's going to see it. It's not going in a gallery. I'm just having fun. It's like, I love those little pastimes that are just for you, just a little scratch, just a
Yeah.
little something.
Yeah, and you just feel good making something,
Yeah.
and like I love the paper products too.
Oh, of
I love
course.
designing them and then using them. So yeah, it's all about
What,
creating things and yeah.
Allison, what does that feel like to like look down and be like, this is my paper? I mean, I imagine that must be amazing.
It is, and I've been doing it for like 20 years with the scrapbook paper. So the company I first worked with, Hambly Studios, so they were a
Okay.
silkscreen company.
Yeah.
And so they did mostly stickers. And I'm like, well, we have all the silkscreen equipment. Let's try silkscreening papers.
Yeah.
And we picked the best papers, like metallic papers, vellum, textured papers. And then we would just silkscreen one color pattern on top of it. And same, using these bright, vibrant inks, some metallic inks, some transparent inks. And so you kind of had these fine art papers that you could scrapbook with or do them for different crafts.
Right.
Yeah. And so that was really a great experience. So
So are those still like in rotation? Like, can I like get my hands on paper you've designed?
I have a whole bunch of them, let me tell you. And then, so yes, those still probably exist in the wild. And unfortunately, my boss went in his 80s and decided to retire.
Oh, bless
And
him.
being in the Bay Area, it was just too expensive to take it
Sure.
on because I considered, and I probably was in my late 20s when he started talking about this. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
is this something I could do? It just didn't work out.
Right.
But he gave me, kind of whatever I wanted to take with
Sure.
me for the papers. So I have thousands of those papers,
Oh,
which is funny because,
I
like,
want some.
yeah. And I mean, Craftcation, like I need to bring
Yeah.
those to Craftcation and get those in the hands of these people because, they still hold up. They're still
Oh,
wonderful
I would
papers to
imagine.
use. Yeah. And
I
the
would
clear
imagine.
overlays, it's just a whole different substance to like design with something clear. You can get layered effects and do fun
Right.
stuff with that too.
Right. So they
Yeah.
might be okay. So when you say they might be in the wild, say more. Like you
Well, I
mean
mean, like probably like eBay,
okay.
Etsy, like people
Okay.
are selling them around there type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
basic gray that like
Yes,
gone,
exactly. Yeah. So they still exist out there.
Sure.
And then I should probably share some of my stash because every time I use them, it brings me joy. So I'm like, how
Right.
can I make sure everybody else knows about these?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So it's funny you should say that because like I have a neighbor in town who I just made a little gift for that I have to deliver because, my thing is Reader's Digest condensed books. I love them. I use them in so many things. My gallery wall, my wall of 100 folded books, they're all Reader's Digest because Reader's Digest are always the same height, the same width, and they always, almost in all cases, have 574 pages. And so, like, I've shoved them in a fireplace and they fit perfectly. Like, they just are my favorite thing. And this neighbor last week or the week before dropped off 6 huge boxes of Reader's Digest. And so I now, because I mean, I have been like over the course of, living here, I mean, I want to say I've probably gone through probably 2,000 of these books, I would say.
That's amazing.
It is. But my point to your paper stash is that, like, sometimes when I get them, I'm worried I'm not going to get any more. And so I have a hard time sharing, which is ridiculous. But I just kind of feel like protective of that one material. So like you saying that you're willing to share, I'm inspired by that. And I should have more of a abundance mentality.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's been long enough that I'm ready to share. I think for a
Yeah.
while there, but it's like if we do like a school project, I'm like, okay, let me do something for the class. We can all cut this apart or do something.
Well, I
And
would
then I
love to
still,
see it. I
oh
would love to
yes,
see it. I gotta find it. Like, I just would love to see it. Do you have any like right by you?
I don't have any
Okay,
right by
that's
me.
okay.
I'm like looking. I wish I did. I should have been prepared to kind
No,
of
no,
pull
we
out
won't
some
send you on a
stuff.
scavenger hunt, but it would
Yeah.
love to see it. So, okay. Now, I did ask our listeners for some questions before our show, and some of them, like we've already gotten to, but here is one that I think is really, I mean, they're all really good, friends. Thank you so much for doing this. Your hand blown glass is stunning because I know I've seen you put that on social too. It is beautiful. What drew you to glass? So I think you said college is where it started. And then, like, how does it differ from your other creative work? So I would imagine like process and design and just even outcome.
Yeah, I mean they're two totally different things.
Yeah.
So I actually have tried silk screening my designs on glass before,
Okay.
to put art on there, and I've made necklaces with little images. I've even silk screened like on like if you think like a window panel kind of
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and then I've wrapped it up on like in with glass blowing, and then I've blown it into a vase.
Mm,
So I've done some kind of stuff with that too. But the glass is kind of the medium kind of takes over sometimes. It's very
sure.
fluid. So I don't get the creative control with the glass sometimes that
You just
I
have to go with
do
it.
with designing.
Right.
Yes. And I love, patterns. I love Aura Kiley. I love Marimekko. My mom always had Peter Max books around the house.
Yeah.
So, I love a lot of the art from the 60s and 70s.
Oh,
So,
same.
that pattern design is something that's just totally different than the glass art. So I've
Mhm.
tried to merge them together a little bit, but I kind of like designing different things for each different medium because they're really hard to kind of compare.
Right. So when you go to the studio to work on glass, do you need to have several hours when you go?
Yeah, so I think it's like a 4-hour time slot,
Okay.
which is a lot, but it flies by. It's the
I bet.
fastest 4 hours ever. And usually I can usually work alone, or sometimes I can have somebody help me.
Right.
My 14-year-old daughter has helped me, which was really fun to kind of get her
Yeah.
kind of into it, because it's like every metal tool you have to assume is hot. So you got to pick it up very carefully because you don't know, you can't tell when something's burning hot.
Right. Back to
So
scarier question from before. Yeah, I bet.
yeah, but it's really nice to have the help. I usually go in there with a whole list of things I want to make. I usually get to like a third of them.
Right.
But I have the different color combos I want to try. I have the different shapes I want to try. And sometimes I go there and it all goes out the door. There'll
Sure.
be great music playing. Like I said, the glass is very fluid, and it's like I just get into something and then make it and enjoy it. And it might not be what I planned to. But if I'm going to be making making something that's either a commission or a gift or something I have to sell, I will make those first to get those out of the way, kind of warm myself up, and then I'll just kind of enjoy the rest of the time that I'm in there.
I mean, so some of us listening, we might be thinking, okay, I can't, go pick up a new hobby like glass blowing tomorrow, because I might not have access to a studio. But I do think that the takeaway is, and what I appreciate you saying is that, like, you've got this really playful approach to the discovery of what happens. It's unpredictable. And I think that crafters, especially, I see sometimes we get a little attached to outcome, and we approach a lot of projects with, well, how long does that take? And I understand it, but I do encourage people to maybe set that to the side. And I'm doing it more too in my own art practice, in that I used to shy away from the big, complicated, time-consuming projects, but I actually really love them now. I don't mind fiddly. I don't mind, like, really kind of getting in there and wiggling around with it. I think it's a good conversation for us to have, because crafters are in a hurry.
Well, I mean, we don't have enough time to do everything we want
Right,
to do. And sometimes
right.
you only have a limited amount of time to finish the project, but sometimes you do need to just let it go a little bit,
Yeah.
and just make sure you're enjoying the process as well.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Because, I see it a lot here at the farm when people come to retreats, and we have a retreat called Pick Your Projects. And when you come to this retreat, you get to pick from a list of about probably 30 different projects now that you want to do while you're here. And then I will teach you how to do them. And lots and lots and lots of folks are like, how long does this take? How long does this take? How long does this take? And I like to encourage people to look at it more from, like, what do you really want? And what do you really want to experience, instead of making decisions based on the outcome of time. But it takes a while, right? And I mean, I've been
Yeah.
doing this for a while, and I've seen, hundreds of people go through this retreat. And so, like, I wouldn't have been able to advise or coach or counsel in the early days like I can now, having seen, what it's like for people when they make what they really want to make instead of what takes the least amount of time. So.
Yeah. And you have to remember too, and I'm sure you tell everybody, like, this is a new skill that then you can take and do it over and
Yeah,
over again. So
right. We
sometimes
can
it takes a
rinse and
second,
repeat.
to
Exactly.
learn it. And then you can always do it, with your papers, your fabric, or whatever spin you
Mhm.
want to put on it.
Exactly. So, okay, thank you for that conversation. Here's another great question from Rachel. And Maya, thank you for that one. Which piece of your work, glass, pattern, or photo, feels most like you? Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, that is a tough one. Oh my gosh. Can I pick one of each?
Yes. Oh gosh, yes. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of different stuff over the years. And then a lot of things that have been like kind of near and dear to my heart. Sometimes
Mhm.
with pattern design, when my grandma's house, we were kind of getting ready to kind of change ownerships. And we had to rip down, the flocked wallpaper. And it was so amazing. So I was like, how can I redraw this in a way that it can
Yeah.
still live on? So yeah, and I mean, so that's been like a fun way to kind of re-put that onto a paper that every time I
Yes.
use it, I know where the inspiration kind of comes from.
Love it.
So I definitely have a lot of paper designs that, have been inspired by stuff that are very close to my heart.
I love that so much. So do you, in that, Allison, do you, like, what are some of your go-to tools? Because, me and my folks, we love talking about tools, like even like pens, adhesives,
Yeah.
like where you're designing, like what are some of your favorites? We love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, mostly when I design, I'm on the computer. As much
Yep.
as I want to be on even Procreate, I still always go back to Illustrator
Yep.
and Photoshop. Those are
Yep.
the easiest ones for me.
Well, and
So,
after 20 years, I mean, that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
you have been in the game for a while, so it makes sense that you, like, have, refined your skills with those particular tools. I get that.
Yeah. So I definitely have my tools I go to. I have multiple Wacom tablets tablets. I feel like I travel with a Wacom tablet. You know, I put it in my backpack with my laptop. It's like I
Yeah.
hate using a mouse. I hate using the trackpad. So I've got the little small ones. I have a bigger one at home.
Yeah.
So that's definitely my go-to. And then obviously Procreate, you've got your
Yeah.
Apple Pencil. So those two go hand in hand with
Mhm,
those.
mhm.
But I do love just pens in general.
Yeah. So do
Yes,
we.
I do have these next to me. Like I
So do
love
we.
the friction new pens that are they're
Ooh.
erasable, and I also like the way they look. You know, they're kind of more like modern, but
And
just
they're
like
friction?
friction. Yeah, I think is it. Oh my gosh, these are the Way ones, WAAI. But they're just they look good, but they're erasable. So when I'm taking my notes, even my notes can look good.
Like a pen I haven't heard of. Can you see? If you could see my face, friends, I'm just like agog. They're like,
Oh
let's
yeah,
take
yeah.
one I haven't heard of, and I like wrote it down
Oh,
because
and at first I had to get it from like a special like Japanese like stationery
yeah.
store, but now they have them at Target. So you're like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to my first planner conference like I guess it was 2 years ago.
How was
Um,
that?
it was great. I love, you know, I love the planner community. I love the
Yeah.
planner stickers and I love
Yeah.
pens. I can't have enough pens, you know, like
Mhm.
I've got all my Tombos. I love my brush pens. I mean, yeah, there's so
Yeah.
many fun tools for that part. My
Love them
husband's
all.
like, do you really need more pens? I'm like, yes, I always
Yes.
need more pens.
I mean, and if we're going to collect something, right? It's not like they take up a ton of space, right? It's not like collecting cookie jars or something, you
Right.
know. Like they're just, I know on my set you can probably see like there's a cup back there, and then in
Yeah.
the mirror you can see next to the plant there's like another one. So you
Yeah.
are in good company. I love them. My problem is that I often get influenced by, you know, water soluble versus non. And I have a hard time like just remembering which one is which for, I don't know, it's a stupid thing, but I like need to do a better job of grabbing the right one when also working with water.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So what are some of
Yeah.
your other favorites, gotta haves?
Um, Well, I was going to say definitely Apple products.
Yeah.
I did a brief thing working at Apple, and I grew up in Cupertino, so I mean,
So there's
love all the
that.
Apple products. You know,
Yeah.
they're designed clean. Um, what else do I like? Oh,
So
I
are
don't
you
know.
right, so does your work bring you into the land of like adhesives or like when you're cutting paper, for example?
Yeah,
Like what are your like tools for that? Because we talk a lot about
yeah.
scissors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like unfortunately my scissors with the family I always mark like fabric only, mom
Right.
scissors. And then it's like, oh, now I need to get another pair.
Right.
So as long as they're sharp, my kids haven't stolen them.
Right.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Hmm.
But then like, I mean, I love my Fiskars stuff, you know, that's just kind of a go-to
Yep.
always. So that's definitely one. I love my Tombow adhesive rollers. The amount of people that don't understand how great those are for everything. I'm just anything, even my kids, I'm like, glue sticks, use the Tombow glue roller. It's way
I'm
less
glad you mentioned
messy.
that.
It's going to be,
I
yeah.
haven't used that since the scrapbook days.
Oh,
But
all the time. Yeah.
thank you for the reminder because I
Yeah.
still have the, you know, the outside part.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the refillable cartridges?
Refillable ones. Yeah. They're
Yes,
still
yes.
around. And I just don't understand how those aren't. I mean, like you can use Scotch tape or you can use the Tombow ones, and it's just so much cleaner for
Right.
whatever you're doing.
I'm glad we're discussing it because I do have the cartridge thing for sure.
Yeah.
I recently just stumbled upon an amazing pen and oh my gosh, like a dummy. I don't have it with me, but I was at Blick and it was like up near the cash register and it is like a teensy tiny like 0.01 and
Oh,
it's
wow.
yeah, like it's just
Yeah.
this teeny tiny little pin mark of a pen
Yeah.
and like detailing and outlining. I love it. Like for eyelashes or like teensy tiny little stuff. Friends, I'll be sure to link it in the show notes because I know those are not the best breadcrumbs I've ever left you. But I love this pen. So great. So great. I'll find it. I'll find it. I'll find it. Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's a 0.5 or thinner, yes.
Right? It's just the tiniest little thing, and I love it so much. Okay, so Allison, tell us then, like, so what's coming up for you? Where can people find you? Like, what's the best way to connect with you and your art?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the process of redesigning my website.
Exciting.
Of course, I have to do it myself. So I
Right.
designed a website recently and show it, and that was such a fun experience. So I'm like, I have to
Right.
do this now for my main site. So right now, my site is kind of more linked to like an outdated blog, but that's AllisonKreft.com.
Yep.
And then my Instagram's also Allison Kreft. Some fun things I have that are out there in the works. I designed a paper scrapbook collection for photo play paper. It's called Wildflower Dreams. So that's still
Woo!
available to purchase. So that was kind of fun. In my garden, I finally planted some flowers. So it was really fun to kind of be inspired by some of those wildflowers and kind of add that
Yeah.
into the collection. So I know that's available at scrapbook.com. I think Craft Direct has it. And I think there's just some other people selling it, stores on Etsy and whatnot.
Can you remind us of the line? So it's the Wildflower Dreams,
Yeah,
but the line of paper is, say that
it's
again?
Photo Play Paper.
Okay.
They're the company that I licensed it to.
Okay.
And then my name's still in there too. So
Oh.
that's a fun one, and there's some smaller patterns on there. So really fun for card making and just other different craft projects.
That's
I should have
exciting.
had that. That's out in my garage too. To show you guys.
So are you heading back to, so where are we in the round of craftcation? Is it just over, or like, are you doing that again?
Oh yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope
Okay,
so.
yeah,
We
yeah.
find out soon who the presenters are going to be and all that
Okay.
stuff.
And that's
I
for
definitely
26?
for 2026. Yeah, I
Yeah, okay.
definitely threw in a few classes. So like I've been doing the jelly plate printing, which is just so much fun
I
because you
love it
can,
too.
yeah, experiment that. I've been doing a lot with, I finally got a laser printer. And so I've been trying to master, if I do a laser print, how to
Transfer.
transfer that. That's a little bit of a learning curve
It
there.
is. I have
Yeah.
a thought, and if you haven't tried it, I mean, you probably have, but
Yeah.
have you tried running your image through your laser printer like 3 times?
Yes, and
Okay.
color, not black. Even
Yes.
though it's a black image, you got to use
Yes.
the color settings, and I think I figured it out.
Right.
But it,
Okay.
it took a while to get
Right?
that because I
Doesn't
was
it?
trying to do like some images with like half tones,
Yep.
and it was so hit or miss. And then it's the same with the ink and the temperature and how long you just leave it on there to get it to transfer.
Definitely. Another thing
Yeah.
I noticed is, so like when I buy copy paper for, our machines at home for business stuff, I tend to buy a lighter weight. And my husband, he's fancy and he buys a heavier weight. And so I noticed that his paper transferred better than my paper. And they're just like, I don't know the weight differences, but like, I don't know, like 60-pound versus, 75-pound or something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But the better quality copy paper gave me a better print on my jelly plate. Could have been humidity. I don't know, but maybe
Yeah,
that's
it's
another thing.
probably just what's being absorbed into the paper
Mhm.
versus transferred. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I love jelly plate printing too. Like, do you find I don't pull that out very much because I always make such a mess?
I do. So when I do, I know it's going to be a process.
Yes.
And I'm going to make multiple things. And then I
Yep.
always try to, while I'm doing it, make a whole bunch of background prints. So the next time if I have the images, I've already got the background print
Background sun.
ready to
That's a good
go.
idea. Batch it. I love
Yeah.
that
So I
idea.
have like my stack kind of always ready to
Yep.
go. I feel
Yep.
like I've taught it a bunch with like kids at school,
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
friends here, just for myself. So I've done it enough that I'm getting a little bit, it's a little bit easier to use.
Yes.
But I even brought it to my family reunion this summer, and I had a little kid that was 1 year old, like pointing to colors and making it with like
Oh,
the older kids. And we were trying to, our family reunion was in Minnesota. I think that's where you are too. And I wanted
yes.
to kind of have people make artwork that was going to represent kind of where we were for the
What
family
a
reunion
great
in the house. So
idea.
we all grabbed foliage from outside. So it was just fun
Yeah.
to have, the pieces that are around the house and unique to that property, kind of make prints out of it.
I am going to steal that idea because we have a lot of family coming in November, and we always play cards. Like we play a big, big round of cards, and we always play hide and seek because I just have a really great house for hide and seek. But I'm going to have to add a little crafty project to the whole puzzle cards hide and seek situation. And jelly plate would be really great, actually.
It was
Um,
so much fun because it was new
yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you never know what you're going to get. I do love it. I
Yeah.
do. And this is a great reminder to like sometimes I don't know what's wrong with me. It's not like I mind being messy. I'm messy all the time. Like I shine up for this, but I'm usually a mess all the time. And I don't know why. I'm like, oh, my jelly plates make such a mess. That's dumb. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, same here. I'm like, there's usually paint all over my
I know.
hands. And I'm
I
like,
know.
I've had a good week if I have like paint that's like stuck on my nail polish. So
I was watching some of my old like, social media videos and like there's a couple where I have paper in my hair and you go into the comments and they're like, what's in her hair? Like, is it food? No, I think it's paper. Like, really, what is that? Just like, that's just how I
that's a
feel.
good one. That means you were really in it if you have
Right.
it
That's
like
how I
in your
show
hair.
up. Just covered. Well, and now I look like a coal miner, like my hands, like just, so with the laser on bookboard, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
bookboard is just layers and layers and layers of paper and glue. Like
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's like
Yeah.
cardboard and glue and then like some other paper or cloth on top of it. So cutting through it, it makes such a mess.
Yeah.
And I mean, my hands are black and then I'll like touch my face and it's in my, and then I also kind of smell kind of charred,
Yeah, I've noticed when you cut certain materials, it just has
Yeah,
that smell and it stays with the
it
material too.
does.
When you take it out, you're like, oh, I can still smell that
Yep,
was laser cut, not
yep,
just cut with scissors, but with bookboard, that is so
exactly.
thick that that's
Yep.
the way to do it.
Well, and my husband is 6'3" and like I'm barely 5'1"-ish. And so when he puts his head on top of my head, he's like, yeah, that's my girl. She's been working in the mines because I like have a, glow 4G aroma
Yeah.
to me. But anyway.
Yeah. No, that's after I blow glass. I'm like, oh yeah, that sticks with
Yeah,
me for a
exactly.
while. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I love my craft.
Yeah.
Well, Allison, thank you so much for being here. This has been so much fun. I will make sure to link in our show notes all of these places where folks can find you. I I gotta go find some Wildflower Dreams by Photoplay paper. Like I want to have something you've made like in my possession. So that's really exciting. But before I let you go, we do have a time honored tradition here at the Happy Time Craftcast where we end by asking our guests the same series of questions. So hopefully the questions aren't too hard and it just gives us a chance to get to know you a little bit better before we say goodbye. So you can elaborate, you can give one word answers. It's completely up to you. And I'll even pipe in too. But here's your first one. So Allison, what is your favorite word?
I probably overuse it, but I love the word inspire. I like to make projects that, or papers that are going to inspire others. I love it when something inspires me because it just kind of
Right.
gets your creative juices flowing. So I do love that word.
I love it too. And I love it too. There's like an assessment. It's not necessarily a personality assessment, but it's a behavioral style profile, it's called. And I know it's used a lot like in the corporate world for like determining your work style at work. And one of the activities in it is you have to circle words that you like. And one of the words on the list is inspirational. And I
Oh,
always circle that word. And I love being it. And I love the word. Like I feel like for me, it's a very fulfilling, purposeful part of my identity.
yeah, no, for sure.
Right? Right. I
Great
know.
word. Yeah.
That's why it's such a good word. Okay. So what about this? What is your least favorite word?
Probably can't.
Yeah.
When you say can't do it, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, you can try, so that might be more with my kids.
Right.
Yeah. Taking that from 3 kids when they say I can't do it. Yes, you can.
Right, right. No, that brings back memories for sure. I remember my own folks saying that. All right, so this one, it's like the most important question to me, because toast is my favorite food. So, Allison, what is the best kind of sandwich?
Well, since I have a garden, so my front yard is now a front yard garden.
Nice.
Um, it's got to be BLTs with my
Yes.
big heirloom tomatoes. Even today, I walked outside. I'm like, oh, BLTs this weekend. Look at that big ripe tomato that's just ready to be picked.
So tell us then with your BLT, do you go classic, just the things, or do you add things? Like, do you add avocado? Do you add
Yes.
mayo?
So I do no mayo and usually avocado instead, and then I do
Mhm.
classic. But the rest of my family, they're putting on mayo. Sometimes they'll throw turkey, but I just want
Sure.
that lettuce to shine, or sorry, the tomato to
Tomato
shine,
shine.
lettuce, and then avocado. That's kind of my favorite.
So, Allison, I'm about to change your life and I'm about to change your BLT. I take this very seriously. So,
I can't
so
wait.
I added pickled onions to my BLT, and
Ooh,
my head nearly popped right off my shoulders because
yeah.
we serve pickled onions a lot here. And so it's a red onion, and it only takes like a half an hour to make red onion, vinegar, sugar, and jalapenos. And we just keep them in the refrigerator in a mason jar.
Okay, I'm trying that one for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Like, it's like the best. Like, I have
yeah,
this red pickle on everything. Like, it is so good.
yeah.
And I don't like dill pickles necessarily. But I love this like acidy, punchy, crispy. And it
Yeah.
just hits the tomato and the bacon and it just like,
Okay, you sold me.
I
I'm
know,
in.
right? Let me know how it goes because
Yeah.
it is so good. It's so good. Okay. All right. So back to serious. So Allison, you are an artist. Like that is part of who you are. So what does that mean to you? What does it mean to you to be an artist?
Well, so I think it's great because like I get to be a creative person. I get to live a creative life.
Yeah.
I get to share this with my kids as well. And I like seeing them get to be inspired. And, the other day, my daughter stole my iPad to use Procreate to do her Halloween costume. And, so I think being an artist shows them that they can do kind of different things too.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, and it means, flexibility. And yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky that I can live being a creative
Yeah.
person as an artist.
I think that like for me, it's like not just what I do and what I make, but it's also how I approach like my life or problems or my family. Like I approach everything with, I would say, my artist mindset. And I think that it has allowed me to be pretty creative in the way that I approach the things that face us. I also think that like it helps me not to be because I mean, I think, to many like I'm pretty easygoing and a little bit go with the flow, but I'm actually pretty structured and pretty regimented in some things. And I think that having like a peppering of this artistic mindset helps me worry less and kind of spin less. Because I think I'm the one that gets in my own way. Because I don't know if you've heard me say on other shows that I am a classic Gen Xer, like classic in that I am propelled by productivity. And I have a really hard time being still. And if I'm still, I feel like I'm wasting time. And if I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm being lazy. And I think it's all part of like my conditioning as generationally that we're always chasing, like we're always chasing something. And I feel like, like this little peppering of artistic approach has helped me like dial down that a little bit. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense, but that's how it kind of works in my brain.
Yeah, no, there's just so much to do always.
Right. Right.
Yes, that totally makes sense.
Well, and what's so weird when I think about it is like my parents weren't ever standing over me being like, do more, like
Yeah,
they were never, they never were really all that involved actually. So this whole like drive and chase, I have no way of knowing if it's nature or nurture, like, or if it was environmental or it was just how I entered into the world with, I must do all of these things.
yeah.
But I think that like, the creative approach to calming that down has just been really great. Really
Yeah.
great. So,
Yeah, I feel like my mom never sits. She's always doing something.
yeah.
And then my great aunt, she's 110 years old,
Shut
and
up.
she just published a book. And it's just amazing to me. She actually published, I think, another book when she was 108.
Is she like a
And
Guinness person? Like, are there many people who are 110?
there's not many, no. And one of her book, I think it's called Pattern and Design. Oh my gosh, what is it? I can't remember the name of it. But it's all about making a piece of a pattern and passing it on to the next person, and they add on to it, and you just kind of go in a circle with the design. But I think our family, we just always are doing something. So, and, you know, she always says, you know, basically doing that stuff is going to keep your mind sharpened, you know, that if you feed furnish your mind, and you always have a comfortable place to live. That's what she says.
That's so smart. I can't believe she's 110. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, she has a hard time hearing, but she's on that email. So, you know, email is her preferred way of communication right now.
I would love it if you told me that like her favorite food is a brownie. And you know what I mean? Like,
it does make the best fudge. So
right. Like it's probably, you know, like what's the secret to this longevity? Like I love it if she's like a cheeseburger a day, you know, or like something kind of counterculture. That would just be like the best. I love that. Like my grandma used to keep brownies in the refrigerator. And like they were always in the same like clear white Tupperware, and like they're always in the same spot in the refrigerator. And I don't remember visiting, and they were not there. And also she would have cake or brownie for breakfast. And I remember my mom asking her about that. Like, do you think that's the most nutritious way to start your day or something? And I don't even think she responded. I think she was more like just kind of shrugged her shoulders, and we had her until she was 93. So
yeah,
a brownie a day, says my grandma Myrtle. Yeah. I love that. Okay. What about this one? So what profession other than the one you have would you like to attempt?
I feel like being an architect would have been really cool. I mean, obviously that's one you just can't go try. You have to kind of learn a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
But I just love certain buildings and just how they look, you know, Eichler homes. I mean, there's just certain things that I think would be really cool. So
yeah, I'm kind of a Frank Lloyd Wright admirer, and you know we've gone on tours, and we've gone to and you know before we moved here we lived in an arts and crafts home, and so yeah, I can definitely I appreciate that out of the box thinking, and I love mid-century modern like so much. My home isn't, but I sure love it. I love looking at it, and folks with that talent, that's so cool. You know, that's one of those where I'm like, I
know. It's like if I knew about that, maybe there would have been a different path, or something could have all merged together somehow.
Exactly. I always say welder.
That's a really cool one too.
Yeah, I always say it. Although, and our daughter Georgia, is actually thinking about starting an apprenticeship program to be a welder. And believe me, Allison, I am so proud. I could about worst, but she's thinking about going into the trades. But anyway, I say welder, but the caveat is I am the most clumsy person.
And you have some big equipment there for that one.
Right. And I'm a little bit accident prone. But what's really funny is I get a lot of grief in my family about how accident prone I am. And it's deserved. It's 1000% deserved. But we do keep a chalkboard in our kitchen of workplace injuries. And I have to say, I haven't been on the board. Like I haven't been on the board in months. And Darren is on the board almost every 7 days.
That's funny. I might need to start that one too. What's some of the things people try in my family?
It's amazing. Well, you know, he's a chef, and he is just like he's always cutting himself, like always. It's crazy. But yeah, like he writes down like the day since the injury, and then he writes down the initials of the person who did it, almost like with a shame. And like our guests love it, and it becomes really funny because like the numbers can change while they're here. But anyway, if I moved to welding, I would be on the board all the time, the time. But I still think about it. Is there a profession that you would like? Nope, don't want to do that. That's definitely not for me.
I'm sure there is. I can't think of what that one would be off the top of my head.
I couldn't be an accountant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind numbers. My dad's a engineer, so math kind of worked out well for me. But I don't know. And my mom did some accounting too. But I can't think of what I would not want to do. I'm sure there's a million things that
I don't want to do anything smelly or gross.
Yeah.
I appreciate the folks who do that because
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I also like back in the day when I had a corporate job, my corporate job was still attached to travel. And so I didn't really feel kind of like cubicle stuck.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that cubicle stuck doesn't sound great. Like I feel like
I
that's got to be
agree.
challenging sometimes.
Yeah, I think the cubicle wouldn't work good for me.
Mhm,
But I do like travel with the job. So that's the fun part, if I can
right.
get to a trade show and kind of get out there and meet people and talk to people, I do love that part.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm, mhm. And I gotta say, I gotta hand it to my friends who are teachers and my friends who are nurses. Like,
yeah,
good gracious, they go through it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, even teaching, whether it's, kids for after school program or like
Mhm.
Craftcation, you come home and you're like, I was on the whole time. It's
Yes.
just a lot of energy. So I think that'd be
Mhm.
really hard to be a teacher, then come home and have that energy for your family
Agreed.
too.
Absolutely agreed. So I love our
Yeah,
teachers and my friends who are
I do
nurses.
too.
I like admire that so much.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this one? It wraps it all up for us. So Allison, what brings you the most happiness?
I would say, I know this is going to sound kind of cheesy, but
No, I love the cheese. I love it.
But so I have 3 kids, and
Yeah.
seeing them and what they've taken from things I've done, like on their
Mhm.
own, just makes me so happy. The other day, there's a million things going on, and my 14-year-old's like, I need a new sketchbook tomorrow. Here, Amazon, right now, Michael's, let's go. And I'm like, I love that
Mhm.
there's this need right away for a new sketchbook, or my daughter stealing my iPad to go use Procreate. I'm like, yes, please, I want to see what you're going to come up with. So it just brings me a lot of joy to see that they're
Yeah.
obviously taking different things and figuring it out for themselves. And to have the creativity mixed in there with the million other things they do is really fun to see.
It connects back to your word about inspire and I can see how all of that connects. And, I think that something that I feel about happiness is I feel that sometimes for me, it's about the lens through which I see things. And like I used to kind of think that happiness was like this great big serving of something. And I don't know if it comes with age or experience or both, but like I now find happiness in smaller things more often, instead of just waiting for that one big, huge thing. And I agree with you. And one of the things that makes me be happiest is I love observing my children when they don't know I'm observing them.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
do too. How they talk
Oh,
to other people, interact. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
pretty
talk
fun
to
to
each
see that.
other
Yeah.
or when when they laugh and they it's like they manage their own mine are adults and like when they manage their own relationships and their own conflict and their like I love being observer of what they do now. So
Yeah.
I think we have that in common.
Definitely.
Well, Allison, thank you so much for being here today. I have absolutely loved having this amazing chat with you. And like you've given us lots to like think about and like inspiring ideas too about how to stay connected to creativity. Sometimes in 4-hour blocks and sometimes when you can steal away. And I love the ideas about being creative with family. Like, thank you so much. Like you've been so inspirational today and I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.
My absolute pleasure. And friends, I will make sure to link in the show notes all of the places where you can find Allison and what she's been up to and what she will continue to be up to. And I do hope you will join me. We're back on October 1st. Catherine Snell Ryan is my guest. She is an art therapist, licensed counselor, and soul collage facilitator. And she helps people heal and grow through creative expression, reflection, and mindfulness practices. She's got over 20 years of experience and she uses art to guide clients to help them process their emotions and reconnect with joy. So I cannot wait to talk to Catherine about that on the 1st of October, and I sure hope you will be here to join me. So thank you again, Allison, and for all of you listening, thank you so much for being a part of the Happy Time Craftcast, and I hope you stay all kinds of super happy until I see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.